I legitimately wanted to facepalm after reading this news because not only is it the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but it's probably the most, it's dumb. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard as well. So what am I talking about? Well, apparently Australia thought it was a good idea to go ahead and ban all games, or at least that's according to the rumor. In my personal opinion, that is a stupid idea. Now, first thing I need to mention, they somehow got it in their heads that games are going to cause violence. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I do not think it's going to do that. Number one, there's been studies proven and showing that games don't cause violence in society. Believe it or not, there was actually a part of that study where they actually did movies as well, and they found that movies only caused a small fraction of violence, and even with that amount of violence, it still wasn't enough to say that it causes violence in society completely. So really, what frickin' Australia is doing is they're essentially overreacting to something that really isn't a problem. Now, this is the problem that I have. Okay, you have government officials that essentially say what they want, or essentially do whatever the heck they want to do, and they say, oh, it's for the people. Oh, really? Is it really for the people? Is it really for the people? So you're really deciding for them what they should be doing in their lives. In my personal opinion, that is the most dumbest thing I've ever seen. That's the problem with governments. They always, do things, and they literally just do it against the citizens. They're always against the citizens. And, the United States has tried to do that, but luckily we are able to actually fight back against that stuff. I'm not sure if you can do that in Australia. I don't know the freedoms or anything like that people have in Australia. I'm not sure if there's any systems that allow people to fight this in that country. But if that is what's going to happen, it is going to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. A lot of people who are, especially gaming related channels, are probably going to, lose their ability to freaking do games in Australia. A lot of people will probably switch to importing games, but then games are now going to be viewed as like a drug now, like freaking marijuana in Australia. So if you have a game in your house, it'll be illegal. You're like, oh, you're a game dealer. Oh my god, that'll sound so dumb, so dumb. And if this does go through, which I hope it doesn't, it will just show how stupid and utterly idiotic some people are. Because governments, I will say, at this point, a lot of people don't even trust their own governments. And to be honest with you, the United States government, though, we have a tendency to say, oh, land of the free, home of the brave. As it stands right now, the people of the United States don't seem to want to do jack about changing anything. I'm not gonna lie, some of them don't. And the very few things that we do change, it's only small, tiny little things, and we really don't bother with anything else. And it's like we just let it happen. We just let it happen. And even with our ability to fight some of the stuff, we still let it happen. It's like it's still going to happen, even if we fight it back, because we have people who just literally just want to be sheep. And I hope the people in Australia do not act like sheep and don't, actually let this happen. Because there are a lot of people in Australia that, are gamers, and they like playing games. And if this happens, one of their favorite hobbies is gone just because some government thought, oh, well, they cause violence. I just, I always imagine government officials being like these fat rich people sitting on a chair with freaking golden chains on their necks, and they're all fat and they got neck beards. It's stereotypical, and I always imagine them sounding like some southern asshole. That's my freaking depiction of a freaking government official. I hope this doesn't happen in Australia.